morning and welcome to Lizard Bites Cooks Breakfast. Yes, it's Saturday morning and we are going to do, today we're going to do like a vegetable omelet made mostly mushrooms and shallot. Here's what your shallot looks like in the supermarket, and then after you peel it, and it's usually in two halves, it'll look like kind of like a red onion, like that. And then we've got mushrooms, of course, which I've already started to slice up here. Not chopped, but sliced. And then we have a zucchini, which I'll probably use about half of and chop that up into, I'll dice that up for our omelet. And that's basically most of our ingredients. And I've got some sharp shredded cheddar cheese. This is just a ShopRite brand. I usually get the Cabot, but they were out of the sharp cheddar Cabot from Vermont, which is my favorite. But this will do. You know, it works. It's all good. So let's start in with. So I prepared the mushrooms are sliced. I'm going to take this shallot and prepare it accordingly. I'm going to use a better utensil. This is a lifetime guarantee Cutto company cleaver. You can send these back to the company and they'll sharpen them for you. But they've got like a lifetime warranty. Probably the best knife I've ever bought in my life. Want to coarsely chop up the shallot because we're going to saute that first. Now, something you should know about mushrooms that I learned from none other than the Frugal Gourmet: do not wash a mushroom under the faucet because it'll absorb too much water and get soggy from the underside. What you want to do is take a damp paper towel and just gently wipe off the dirt that's on the top of the mushroom and pull your stem off, which you won't need. And then that's how you would clean mushrooms all the time. You do not run them under water. It just makes them no good. It's no good, I tell you. And then you just slice them up. So lots of mushrooms, one shallot, and I think we're going to do about a little less than half of a zucchini because I don't want to put too many vegetables into this omelet, otherwise it will just fall apart and will become more vegetable than egg. We're making an omelet here, not a vegetable saute. So your zucchini, basically you can cut it in half and then cut it into quarters, and then you can just chop it up like that so you have some nice little wedges of zucchini. You know, about this size is good enough. But that's probably enough zucchini. I'll save the rest for something else. So I got 3 eggs in my bowl here that you can't see. Now you can. See, there's my eggs. And I'm just going to take a fork and beat those up. I don't put milk or cream into eggs. It's just not necessary. I like the taste of the whole egg. I don't need to water it down. Some people like fluffier omelets and fluffier scrambled eggs, and we'll throw a little bit of like a shot of cream in there, or half and half, or milk. I don't really buy milk, so except for coconut milk, which I use like in cereal and stuff like that. Otherwise, it's a milkless home. Okay, so here we are on the stove here, and I've got a hot pan that's been heating at a bit of medium heat, and we're going to put in some olive oil. Extra virgin is good. Nothing too fancy or expensive, but I like the extra virgin olive oil. And then we're going to start with the shallot. You want to bring down the heat just a little bit so you don't burn anything. You want to move those shallots around to get them just about a minute or two, just so they can release their flavors. And then I'm going to throw in my zucchini. I would have to say that the zucchini could have been cut a little finer just to stay inside the omelet without falling out, but due to time constraints, they're cut a little. I might have cut them another half of what you're looking at there, but they're fine. And they're going to cook. These are going to cook longer than the mushrooms, so the mushrooms are going to add. Well, you know, I can throw the mushrooms in now. We have the mushrooms right here. See, lots of mushrooms. And I always remember that Julia Child. It was in the movie, even I think, with Meryl Streep. Don't crowd the mushrooms, because you want to be able to cook the mushrooms. Give them a lot of breathing space so they all can cook evenly. I think that's what she meant. Now, most chefs would now season this with salt and pepper. I am trying to reduce my sodium, so I started using this brand called Spice Hunter, and there it is if you want to look for it. But it's this is a seafood grill and broil seasoning, but it's actually a great replacement for salt and pepper. Actually, it has pepper in it. What is completely natural, it has brown mustard seeds, lemon peel, black pepper, onion, chili pepper, celery seeds, bay leaves, basil, fennel, oregano, red pepper, thyme, citric acid, crystallized lemon, and lemon oil. So there's no preservatives or anything in this, but it really gives a really nice taste to anything that you, even though it says seafood, it doesn't matter. And they make another one called Poultry Blend. It's also a grill and broil, and it has a variation of similar but different spices. This is my favorite, the seafood grill and broil by Spice Hunter. And you just want to stir this around and keep it moving so everything cooks nice and evenly. I like to use this rubber spatula as opposed to this, because I can push things around better. This is good for lifting the egg out, but this is my most widely used utensil for making lots of things. And they're easy to clean and they don't wear out or break, and they're easy on your non-stick surfaces. So we're going to let that cook. And I'm going to pour some coffee. You want to make sure that these are fully cooked before you remove them, because we're going to take these out of the pan. A lot of people make omelets, they just throw the egg right on top of this, and I don't really like the omelet like that. I like this to be in the center, kind of like a big burrito, where the egg would play the role of the tortilla, and this is the filler. Now you can add any kind of combinations of vegetables to make an omelet like this. I mean, if I had some red or green pepper, I might have thrown that in here. Be creative. You could use leftover vegetables from the night before. Asparagus is a wonderful addition to this, especially with the cheese, asparagus, cheese, and mushroom. It makes a great omelet. I don't have any asparagus, but I do have some zucchini, so I'm winging it. That's all. That's what it's about in cooking. It's not about perfect ingredients or following an exact recipe and measurements in a cookbook. It's about just feeling it out, Just that's enough onion, that's just about enough mushroom, that's enough of that spice. You could always taste as you go along and correct the seasoning, but you don't want to overdo it with anything. You don't want too much of anything. So I'm letting these cook really slow, not too slow, but I don't want to burn them. I just want to make them nice and cooked. Now instead of bread, I'm going to heat up a couple of corn tortillas, and these happen to be my favorite. These are the Mission yellow corn tortillas. You can find them in most grocery stores. I don't like flour tortillas. I like the yellow corn, and I have something that I use to heat these up. I'm not crazy about crispy tortillas either, so I have what is called a tortilla warmer that you could also buy online or in a home goods store, and they're perfect for microwaving tortillas instead of getting involved with the messy oil in the pan and that. And so I like a nice soft tortilla, so I'm going to take 3 tortillas to use, and I'm going to put them in this thing here and put the cover on, and you put them in the microwave for about a minute or two until they're hot, but you don't want to get them too hot or they'll stick to the bottom. As you can see, these are reducing quite nicely now. They're browning, and their flavors are starting to really, like I said, the zucchini could have been chopped up a little finer because that's taking the longest to brown. And I also had the flame down a little too low. But I'm about to take these out of the pan and put them in a separate bowl. I'm going to scoop these out with my spatula and just stick them in a bowl here. See? We're going to take a little butter and throw it in there. A lot of times I'll wipe the pan clean if there's too much schmutz in there. But it's okay if we got a little bit of shallot or mushrooms still in here. But we want to make sure that the omelet doesn't stick or the egg doesn't stick, so we're going to put some butter in here. And we also are lowering the heat just a little bit, so we don't want to cook the omelet too much. I'm not putting any seasoning in this. Some people like to add some chili sauce to this, believe it or not, salsa, which is a variation. It can be done. And we're just going to dump the egg in like that. See, a lot of times I like to clean the pan clean because I won't get this brown around the edges, but I'm not being particularly picky today. And then the way to cook this properly is when you're cooking an omelet, you want to let it set first. You can see that it's starting to cook in the middle. And what I want to do is drag in the edges from the outside. So some of this uncooked part bleeds off into the outside to allow that to cook. See how I'm doing that? Because if I don't push the outside into the center, then it's not going to cook evenly. So it's at that point where I want to add my vegetables, and I'm basically going to keep them in the center. Not in a pile, but kind of along the center. See, like that. And then we're going to just take some cheese. Again, you know, we don't have to measure this stuff. Just use your eye. I take like a nice, generous handful of cheese, and I'm sprinkling it all over it. I want it extra cheesy, so I put it. You want more cheese, you put in more cheese. You don't want more cheese, you don't. And now, I don't want this to burn at the bottom, so I'm going to lower it down, but I do want the top to cook, so I'm going to cover it and let that cheese melt. In the meantime, I'm going to heat up the tortillas. So the tortillas I have on a reheat. Instead of a high heat, I'm using a reheat mode for about a minute or so. And I'm going to just check the omelet. See, it's not melting yet. I'm going to show you two other products I'm going to put on the... One, I will put on the egg. I could put on this Herdez salsa casera, which is a medium hotness. Or I could just take this sriracha sauce made in Japan, which is also a very nice seasoning to add at the end. Notice I did not put any salt or pepper in the egg either. And so I'm going to take a look at this egg again. And if you notice, it's all melted now, so it's done. So what you want to do now is take that one edge of that egg and kind of just turn it like that. And the other edge, flip it like that. It's a little browner than I would normally make it, but I'm trying to be cameraman and technician and all that other stuff. And if you want to carefully just transfer it, I mean, this is a huge omelet for one person. That's why I'm having trouble picking it up. Looks like I'm going to lose some of it. Okay? Okay? So here we are at the table, and what we've got here is the sriracha sauce. I've got some really hot tortillas. And we're going to take a tortilla out, see? Just like that. And we're going to take some of this egg. And we're going to stick it in here like that. And I've got my hot sauce, which normally I do this with it. It's really good. And for presentation, you do something like that, you can. And of course I forgot to put some on that. So that's basically my mushroom, zucchini, and cheese omelet. Well, thank you for joining me today for my my breakfast, and I'm going to eat it now. I guarantee. And so stick around, folks. We're going to have more cooking shows. And thanks for joining us. Bon appetit.